many of the services it provides, including firefighting.
Is that cause for alarm? Tonight, Bill Carey begins an investigation of the city's plans to reduce its force of firefighters, reductions that could affect everyone who lives and works in Syracuse.
I don't spend my day playing checkers. I'm not some old timer that the little boys in the town come to visit, because there's nothing for me to do. I spend most of my day maintaining the equipment that we carry on the rig.
They spend their days responding to emergencies. Now they face their own crisis. The city of Syracuse has budget problems, and the biggest cut in personnel will be among the ranks of the city's fire department. They call these firehouses, and inside these houses is a family in crisis, a family of firefighters worried about the future of their jobs. Richard Buck's father was a firefighter, but when it came time to choose a career, it wasn't just family ties that drew him to the fire service.
I thought it would give me an opportunity where I could actually help people when they desperately needed it. And I do have the opportunity to have an impact on people's lives. That's probably the greatest thing about it.
It's a strain to spend your day waiting, never knowing what the next emergency will be.
Actually doing it this way would be the way.
Rather than just wait, firefighters spend much of their day anticipating.
Ready? Ready.
You keep an eye on your bag.
Okay.
Don't worry about messing up.
Up on the green.
You got
it.
You got him right there.
Good. Facing it down.
We carry so much equipment, and it can be used for so many different things that we have to have hands-on time with the equipment. We could call down alarms at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I don't have time to look in the book to see how to use a certain piece of equipment. I have to know them.
And it's not just fires and accidents. Very often, in a medical emergency, firefighters are the first on the scene. Firefighters are not budget experts. They know how to deal with fires and accidents, but budget cuts and restructuring are something new. No matter how the budget debate is resolved, firefighters say they'll make any new system work. They'll do it for the people of the city, and they'll do it for the sake of the family that lives in this house.
2 more fish.
We eat together here at the fire department. We sleep together. We spend 48 hours a week here together. I've learned a lot, and I've been through a lot with them, too. And it's something I would never trade, ever.
A special commission has been making recommendations to city government on where it can cut services and save money. That panel claims the city of Rochester is an example of how the number of firefighters can be cut without sacrificing service. Tomorrow night, Bill Carey takes us to Rochester to find out just what the impact of those cuts has been.
Among the targets of budget cutters, the Syracuse Fire Department, which could lose nearly 30 firefighters' jobs. Is it cause for alarm for those of us who depend on city fire protection? Bill Carey's been investigating, and he takes us now to one city where firefighters claim cutbacks have meant disaster.
Squad 12, car 3, a possible structure fire.
On any given day or night, Syracuse firefighters climb aboard trucks to respond to fire calls, never knowing which fire will be the big one.
You can't see anything. It's hot. It's dark.
Amid the chaos of a fire, firefighting demands precision.
Everybody has a certain job that they have to do, and your mind is racing to make sure that you're going to do your piece of that job. If one of those little pieces of the puzzle in that job get left out, it could mean that somebody gets hurt or somebody could lose their lives.
At a time of cutbacks, there are worries over whether that precision can be maintained. When the Writing Commission recommended some cutbacks in manpower for the Syracuse Fire Department, one of the places it looked at was here in Rochester. It pointed to the fire department here as an example of how manpower could be cut and the job could still be done efficiently. But one thing the Writings Commission didn't do was talk to firefighters here in Rochester.
If they ever have, we have 2 simultaneous big fires, we're strapped, we're done.
Dan Cavouto heads up the Firefighters Union in Rochester. For 20 years now, his department has been a favorite target of budget cutters. Over those 2 decades, nearly 200 jobs have been cut.
Coming into Rochester, no matter what they say, holding us up as a model, is what we have here is just a high-gloss car. This is a fiction of fire protection.
The city of Rochester says the plan has worked. Cavouto claims less manpower and slower response time has meant more fire deaths and injuries. It's taken a toll, he says, on the members of his union.
We are having our members going out on stress-related disabilities caused by the years of being frustrated, in my opinion, by coming to a scene and having to wait for help or placing his own life in jeopardy because he doesn't have a buddy to go in with him.
Faced with threats of tax hikes, Cavouto understands why Rochester's taxpayers have gone along with cutbacks. He blames the people drawing up the budgets. The question he raises is being raised by Syracuse firefighters as well. At what point does the loss of life outweigh the issue of money?
How many people is enough? If you ask the city if we lost 50 children, they would say, well, if we had a fire party for every one of those children, we still would lose them. They just lost concept. Dollars have become more important than people to them.
Now, just how does the city of Syracuse justify its plans to reduce the number of firefighters? Tomorrow night here, Bill Carey continues his report, talking to the man proposing the cuts and the people warning against them.
There was a happy ending to the story of a house fire today on Syracuse's southwest side.
The Syracuse Fire Department put out the fire quickly enough to save both man and beast. A young boy playing with a lighter touched off the fire in a first-floor bedroom. No one in his family was hurt. Upstairs, a man and his daughter were sleeping. Firefighters were able to pull them from the building with only minor smoke inhalation. Also on the second floor, searchers found 2 small puppies. They were unaffected by the smoke and flames. A next-door neighbor has agreed to care for the dogs until her neighbors can retrieve them. Well, next week, Mayor Bernardi officially submits his new city budget to Syracuse's Common Council. Included in that package, major cuts in the fire department.
All this week, Bill Carey has been taking a look at what the impact of those cuts may be. Tonight, while the mayor defends his proposal, 2 former fire chiefs find it cause for alarm.
Syracuse, towns, villages, and school districts.
The city's mayor has been saying for weeks, with a major budget crisis in the making, big cuts are inevitable.
Our 3 largest departments, Public Works, Police, and Fire, take about 60% of our total budget. If the financial situation does not improve, those are the areas you look to obviously cut back on.
Budget cutting was underway while the mayor was hiring a new fire chief.
And as I was interviewing the fire chief, of all the candidates that came through here, every single one of them, to the last person, indicated that a reorganization of our fire department was indeed necessary.
James Cummings got the job and went on to propose the plan to cut 28 positions. The mayor says he's only backing the cuts because the experts, like his new chief, say they can be carried out without any major problems. But Cummings' view is not universally held. Among those questioning the new cuts, 2 men who preceded him as chief.
The first few minutes are critical.
Former Chief Wilbur Hess worries less manpower means slower response time.
With the synthetic materials you got, these man-made materials, just a smoldering fire, you get some real weird and dangerous toxic gases, only a minute or 2, maybe even not that long, and people will die.
The pending budget battles were one of the reasons Michael Downs retired at the end of 1994. Under the new plan, manpower for units on the far east and west sides of Syracuse would be cut. If he lived in those areas, Downs said he'd have some serious questions.
Well, I'd say, why me? I mean, I pay my taxes. Why are you beefing up other parts? Why are you going to tell me that they have more fires? But how about the one that I might have?
Joining in the criticism are firefighters, gathering signatures on petitions to block the cuts.
You're going into a burning building. You're going into something you can't see. They're hot. It's not a very easy situation. Every time you take someone away, that job becomes tougher.
The union arguments haven't changed the mayor's mind.
If you're going to object, have a plan to put into place for that objection, and they haven't come forward with one.
Firefighters say they'll make the new system work as well as it can. But what worries the men who have been chief is what happens when the system reaches its limits.
Sooner or later, it's going to happen. Sooner or later, you're going to get this incident that you can't cover properly.
Somebody's going to get hurt, public or firefighters. And I'm sure that the mayor wouldn't want to do that.
Again, the new cuts in the fire department will be part of a budget plan the mayor submits to the Common Council next week. There'll be a public hearing on the budget Monday, April 24th. The final council vote on the budget comes Monday, May 8th. New budget takes effect on the 1st of July.
Consolidating some city services and cutting 64 positions across several city departments.
Now, one of the more controversial proposals in the budget is a call for streamlining the city's fire department. We brought you in-depth reports last week on whether there's cause for alarm about the mayor's plan to cut 28 jobs.
Firefighters set to deliver petitions to the Common Council at its meeting tonight would tell you there is cause for great concern. Our Bill Carey is live at the City Hall meeting now to bring us the very latest. Bill?
Well, Rod and Carey, the meeting is just getting underway here at City Hall. The City Firefighters Union is here to deliver those petitions, which carry about 24,000 signatures, all calling for the city to rethink these cuts. Some of the positions were on display earlier today when the Common Council held committee meetings on some budget issues. The fire chief, who drew up the plan, and the Syracuse Firefighters Union squaring off on the issue before the Council's Public Safety Committee.
We're going to balance our resources better. This is the name of the game. There is no book out there. I wish there was a book for a fire chief that says, hey, you've got 158,000 people. You have this, you have that. Here's what has to be done. It's not there. We make judgment calls with our staff, what has to be done to best benefit this city.
The bottom line here is the mayor of the city of Syracuse continually attacks this department to downsize. We have drawn the line here personally. Right now, my chief, if he had his way, and I'm sure he'd agree with me, we'd stay right where we are. Didn't have his way. The mayor said to him, this is what I'm going to do, abolish 28 positions, show me how to do it.
And again, Rod and Carey, right now those petitions from the Firefighters Union are being delivered to the Common Council. One of the things that may stoke the fires here a bit this evening, earlier this afternoon, the mayor, as you said, released his official budget proposal, which was slightly different than the original budget plan that had been outlined a few days back. Among the things that the mayor did was restore 6 police positions that had been originally targeted to be cut. The firefighters hearing about that were less than happy that none of the firefighters' positions had been restored. Rod and Carey?
Okay, Bill Carey will be keeping us up to date on what happens with those positions in the city fire department. Thank you.